guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's tutorial is going to be on my go-to fall look. This is for sure going to be my go-to look this fall. I love this eye look. It's like kind of dramatic but kind of not dramatic. If you look at me straight on, it's a little bit like soft and subtle besides a bold lip, but then if I close my eyes, you can see the glitter and you can see the cut crease, which I love. I love the way this turned out. I hope you guys like it too. I used a lot of new drugstore products in this video. I think I don't remember, but I used a lot of new drugstore products, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to subscribe and hit that little button down below. Don't forget to comment down below and let me know what you'd want to see next. I don't really know what you guys enjoy seeing, so if you could leave me a comment down below, that'd be great. Other than that, follow me on all my social medias, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys. So starting off with our face, you want to keep your face hydrated and primed. So here I'm going in with CETAPHIL lotion. For this to work best, you want to really work it into your skin until it gets extremely tacky, and then you want to start applying your makeup. So once that's done, I'm going in with soft ochre paint pot, and I'm going to start priming my eyelids. No matter what, I always prime my eyelids before applying any kind of eyeshadow, whether it be a paint pot or concealer. So once we're done priming our eyelids, I'm going in to set that primer with the Self-Made palette by Anastasia and using the shade Buttery. Here you can use a translucent powder or any kind of shadow just to make sure that you set it. And the reason why you want to set it is so that our shadows blend out very easily and very seamlessly, because if you don't set it, the brushes tend to stick onto that paint pot. So now going in with our first transition shade called Sherbet from that same palette, I'm using a Sigma E40 and just buffing this back and forth into the crease and continuing to build the intensity of this color. So here, as you can see, I'm flicking it outwards on the end, which is starting to carve out that crease very softly. So you just want to buff it back and forth into the crease, and at the end you want to flick it outwards. It can be a little bit messy because soon we'll go in with concealer and clean everything up, so don't worry about it if it's really messy. Once I'm done building the intensity of that transition color, I'm going to jump into the Modern Renaissance palette and using the color Love Letter with the Morphe M441. I'm going to be doing the exact same motion that I was doing before with Sherbet and just buffing it back and forth into the crease and then flicking it outwards. A lot of people would be really intimidated by these hot pinks kind of color. These colors are so versatile because you don't need a heavy hand of it. If you just lightly dip your brush in it, it becomes such a sheer wash of the color, but you could still get the pigment from it. It just doesn't need to be so intense. So don't be intimidated by dark, deep colors like this because they can turn out to be so pretty as transition colors. So as you can tell, I used a very soft wash of it, and I'm just buffing it back and forth into the crease and just building up the intensity of it very slowly. That way it gives it a very gradient effect and it seems very seamless. You don't have any harsh lines, no patchiness or anything like that. And to blend it out even more, I'm going to go in with Raw Sienna using a Sigma E40 and just buffing those two colors in together just to make sure everything's very blended out and no harsh lines. Then going back in with that other brush, the Morphe M441, and going into Love Letter once again just to build up the intensity a little bit more because I want it to be a little bit deeper of that pink showing through and not so soft. So you just want to build it up very slowly. Take your time so that you don't mess up this eye look. It's really easy. You just have to really take your time. Now switching brushes to a Morphe M330, I'm going to go in with Venetian Red from the same Modern Renaissance palette, and I'm using this brush because the end is very tapered, which allows me to get really into the crease and really begin to slowly carve it out. So as you can see, I'm doing the exact same motions as I did with all the other colors, except it's a little bit more precise because of this brush. I swear, everybody that asks me about freelance makeup and like how to do eyeshadow, my biggest thing is your brushes. Brushes are key. You can have the crappiest shadows and you could still make it work just because you have really good brushes. So as you can tell, I'm carving it out and then flicking it outwards the same ways that I've done with every single other color. Now going back into the Self-Made palette, I'm going to take the color right here called Hot Chocolate with the same brush, and I'm going to do the exact same thing back and forth. I'm just beginning to really deepen up that crease so that when we do carve it out, you can tell the difference in all the colors and you can really see that cut crease. And the reason I'm going into this dark brown versus a Modern Renaissance dark brown is because this one has more of like a chocolatey kind of a red undertone, and then the other one's a little bit more of like a deeper brown. I hope that makes sense. I'm kind of keeping with the themes of the reds and the plums and all those kind of colors because of the lips that I'm going to go in with later. So I'm still doing the exact same thing, just making sure everything's blended out and we don't have any harsh lines. Then switching brushes back to the Morphe M441, no additional product on it, just buff it back and forth just so everything seems very seamless and we blend out any harsh lines or patchiness that we may have. Basically, just blend until your arm falls off. Once I like the way everything's blended out, I'm going to begin to really clean up the look. And I'm going in with MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot, and as you can tell, I'm doing dabbing and short swiping motions just to make sure that I don't really mess up and everything's really precise and very cut and clean. Then towards the end, you're just going to really follow the shape that you've already created and just follow that, and it's literally easy peasy, and you're going to see how everything gets so clean and so sharp. And don't worry about if it's super clean or if it's a little bit jagged, you can fix that really easily. As you can tell here, I'm going in with hot chocolate and a small pencil brush, and you can see that I messed up a little bit and I went a little bit too far up with this pencil brush. As you're cleaning and sharpening everything up, it just covers exactly what you messed up on. So don't worry if you mess up. It happens to everybody, it happens to the best of us. So here I'm using that hot chocolate and really beginning to really finishing up the look and just intensifying that crease so it can look very sharp and very cut. As you're doing this, you want to have a very soft hand and just lightly go back and forth. Now going back into Venetian Red, and I'm using a pencil brush, and I'm going to blend out that hot chocolate that I just placed with that Venetian Red just to make sure it's very blended out and very seamless, and you don't have to really see that cut crease as in like a line. It's more of like a blended out line. I hope that makes sense. And once we have blended away our life, I'm going to go back into that Self-Made palette, and I'm going to go back in with that first color, Sherbet, and I'm going to place this all over the lid. I don't want an intense lid. I kind of want it to be a soft cut crease, but when it's a white shade, it looks very harsh and very intense. So I'm going to go in with this soft peachy kind of color, and I'm going to pack that all over the paint pot because since I'm going to go in with glitter later, I want the glitter to be the star of the show, and I want it to be like a soft glitter cut crease. I hope that makes sense. So basically with this, you just want to pack on the color and swipe it and make sure that you stay on the paint pot and you don't drag it upwards. So the paint pot is kind of like your base for this. And don't worry about that little line of paint pot peeking through. We're going to cover that with loose glitter later. So basically we're going to do the exact same thing that we just did to the other eye to this eye. Okay, so now going into the star of the show, here I'm taking Too Faced glitter glue with a mixture of MAC Reflex Gold and NYX Copper glitter. So what I'm going to do is take a sharp angled liner, and with that brush I'm going to dip it into the glitter glue and begin to carve out where I'm going to place the glitter. And I'm going to make it as if it was a glitter liner, so I'm going to place it in a very short, small, thin line. So once I'm done with placing the glue, I'm going to take that same brush and just dip it into the glitter and then begin to pack it on where I place that glue. So then we're going to do it in short packing motions, no swiping because you want it to look very full. So once I'm done packing that glitter, I'm going to go back into the glue and slowly continue carving out that line with that brush. And then once I'm done placing the glue, I'm going to dip back into the top with the two mixtures of glitters and begin to slowly pack it on again, and we're slowly doing a glitter liner. Obviously it would be a lot easier if I actually had glitter liner, but because I don't, we're making it work regardless. This is why I wanted to go in with the soft lid color, because this glitter is going to steal the show and be the star of this eye look. So once we're done packing on the glitter, I'm going to go in with my NYC liquid liner and just create a wing liner. Add a wing and some falsies and onto the face we go. So here I'm going in with the Urban Decay Naked One and Done, and because I want a little bit more coverage, I'm going to add some of that Pro Infallible Glow foundation, and I'm going to begin to pack that all over my face with the Beauty Blender and blend it out. Once we're done with that, going in with BECCA Under Eye Corrector with that same concealer brush that we used to carve out our eyeshadow, I'm going to place this underneath my eyes in a triangle shape and then around my nose where my nose gets a little bit red, and just blend it out with the Beauty Blender. Now going in with this new concealer that I got from the drugstore, the Master Conceal in Light Medium. I got honestly too light of a shade. I should have just gotten medium, but we'll make it work anyways. So I placed this onto my face and then blended it out with the concealer brush, and once I have that everywhere where I want it to highlight, my forehead, the bridge of my nose, my chin, my cupid's bow, I'm going to go in with the Beauty Blender and blend it out. So that was my first time trying this concealer. I really like the way it blended out. It had a really nice full coverage consistency. So far I like it. It didn't crease or anything like that. I just think I got too light of a color for my skin tone. I should have got a deeper color, but that's okay. Once we blended out the concealer, I'm going to go in with my trusty AIRSPUN. I'm so obsessed with this lately I found to be better than RCMA, the Laura Translucent, all of those. It just makes a hot mess. So we're going to dab out anywhere where we crease and then dip into the Beauty Blender straight into the little pot and begin to set our face. I'm going to set my forehead, my laugh lines. I'm going to reverse contour and set underneath my eyes and drag it upwards on my nose to create an illusion of my nose being smaller. So once everything's set, we're going to dust it away and then moving on to highlighting and contouring. Here I'm going in with this Wet n Wild contouring palette. I've never used it before. This is brand new for me and I love the contouring shade. Not sure how I feel about the brightening shade. It's a little bit too brightening for my skin tone, but the contouring shade is amazing. So I'm going to use the brightening shade on my forehead, underneath my nose, and all that stuff just to add a little bit more of a highlight effect. Not like I really needed it, but I just wanted to try it, to be honest with you guys. And now going in with the contouring shade from that palette with the Morphe M530. I love this color of the contouring palette. It's like not too cool and not too warm. It's a perfect mixture of both. It honestly creates such a beautiful shadow along your face and it's just amazing. And by the way, this contouring palette is called Dulce de Leche and it's like, I think it was like $3, which is amazing, guys. So basically I'm just going to contour my forehead, my cheekbones, my jawline, and my nose. And I just love this color. I just can't get over it. I think I found my perfect contouring shade and it's from the drugstore. How amazing is that? Then just to make sure everything's really blended, I'm going to switch brushes to a clean Morphe M403 and just buff everything away just to make sure we don't have any harsh lines and nothing seems like very cakey. So now going in with Milani's Luminoso with a Morphe E3 blush and I'm just going to dust this over the apples of my cheeks. I love this blush. It's like literally a year-round blush. It's so pretty and it's like a corally with a little bit of sheen in it but not glitter. So then now going in with BECCA Champagne Pop and a Morphe fan brush. I think it's a 310 and just we're going to dust this along the high points of our cheeks, nose, bridge of my nose, and the Cupid's bow. I love this highlighter. It's an all-time favorite of mine underneath the Balm's Mary Luminizer. Now to highlight the inner corners of my eyes, I'm going into the Self-Made palette and using the shade Tempura, and I'm going to use the Morphe E36, which is the best highlighting brush of life. It's so little, it just gets right in there. And I'm going to highlight the upper parts of my brows, and then now going into my lower lash line, I'm going to go in with this e.l.f. definer brush, and I'm using the color Hot Chocolate and just lining my lower lash line with this before I go in and buff it out. This is another great brush for such an affordable price. So then going back into the Modern Renaissance palette and taking the color Love Letter with that same pencil brush we used earlier, we're just going to buff out that Hot Chocolate with this pink color. It just blends it out so easily, so seamless, and it just looks so pretty underneath your lash line. Then to blend it out even more, I'm going in with the Sherbet color from the Self-Made palette using a Morphe M209, which is one of my favorite brushes for underneath your lash line. It just buffs everything out so seamlessly. So we're just going to buff that out using Sherbet just to smoke it out a little bit more, but not so intensely. And then once we're done with that, we're going to apply some mascara. And the eye look is complete. Now moving on to the lips, here I'm going in with Jordana's lip liner in the color Tawny, which is a very soft mauve kind of color, and we're going to go ahead and line our lips before we apply any liquid lipstick. I only do this specifically when I use Anastasia's liquid lipsticks because I feel like they can get a little bit drying on me and a little bit uncomfortable, so I feel like adding a lip liner makes it a little bit more doable for me. Now going in with Anastasia's Trust Issues liquid lipstick. This is my first time trying this shade and I'm so obsessed with it. It's so pretty for the fall. It's like a deeper mauve but like purpley plum undertones. It's so gorgeous for the fall time and I love the way this look turned out. This is for sure my go-to fall look for this fall. I just said fall 17 times, but I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you guys learned something today. Sorry for all the glitter and the cut creases that I've been doing lately. It's just been my jam. But other than that, I will see you guys in my next video, and thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you guys, and don't forget to let me know down below what you'd want to see next. Bye guys.